And what is up, guys? Technicals Tinkers here, checking in on the 3D print operation for today. If you're unfamiliar, I'm a small business owner. I got interested in 3D printing and I thought, hey, I can prove the concept here at home, and if I can grow the business to sufficient size, I can move it into my warehouse and we can expand it and go from there. I'm a total novice at this. This is just exhibition, so your feedback and your suggestions and your advice helps immensely in this journey. So what have I got going on today? Well, big dodo, massive failure. Was printing this D20 cube yesterday, and if you saw the video, my previous video, I said in the video, I'm kind of nervous about running out of filament before this thing finishes, and I swear, this thing said around, the spool kind of quoted here, around the 900 gram mark, and this thing takes 750, I think. Clearly, it was not enough, and I think, too, it didn't stop because it just ended here before it ran through the filament sensor and it said print finish. So my suspicion is that this little hook here on the end of the filament that's usually in the spool got caught in here. The extruder couldn't pull it through and it just kind of kept going, and it thinks that it finished the print, but it did not. But alas, we can look at this and evaluate it. I mean, that's like, 17 bucks down the drain, but hey, it's all part of the process, right? Cobra's pretty quiet except over here on number 4. Now on number 4, I'm doing a tray that holds little desiccant beads. I had a bunch here in the bottom of this tray, and so if you saw yesterday, I was printing one, but unfortunately, my dodo brain, I was like, hey, how about I make a bigger one so I can fit more beads? So I made this 200% of the size. But when you make it 200% of the size, the holes become 200% bigger and beads fall out. So that's a learning experience. That's what we call our screw-ups here. We call them learning experiences. Everything else is pretty quiet right now, except for down here on the P1P. We've got the second edition, the second test of our snake wall placard thing. Check my previous video, been kind of going over that. I did more extensive painting on it, cleaned it up a little bit. And so I want to see how this one comes out. It might be some areas I need to touch up. Someone was suggesting that maybe the red text against a black background was kind of hard to see, but I really colored in the text quite a bit more, so it does kind of pop. Additionally, the black background I think is going to kind of have to be the thing, just so nothing shows through, because that's the thinnest part of the model. It kind of contrasts everything else and lets everything pop out. So the beauty of it is, at least in my thinking, is that the way I'm painting it, I can swap the colors out. So like if I wanted to make the fleur-de-lis a different color, I would just swap it in the AMS, and those colors only appear on one particular item within the print, if that makes sense. It's kind of a future-proofing thing. If I want to make the snake purple, I just swap it in the AMS and the snake comes out purple. It's not like the snake and the gun are purple. You get the idea. And so let's inspect this D20 cube a little bit, the failure, because if we can't sell it, we can at least extract some information from it to see if these new settings are a win, or if when we get the replacement filament in or on our next batch, we can improve somewhere. Now we did fuzzy skin on this, never done fuzzy skin before, but overall it looks pretty good. My chief complaint and the thing I wanted to avoid was where the edges hung off. It's not even there. On these overhangs, previously I was getting a lot where it wasn't adhering. It's absolutely, dare I say, perfect, absolutely perfect. And the fuzzy skin, another person, very kind person, was saying that in the settings I can adjust how aggressive, I guess, the fuzzy skin is, like, how high it comes up off the model. This is the default setting. You can really see it gives it a cool texture. Maybe dial that down a little bit. Completely hides the layer lines. Numbers came out, dare I say, perfect. I think I got a winner on this one, guys. If I hadn't run out of filament, this would be, this is like 4-H club. I'm taking this to the county fair. Real shame, real bummer that the spool ran out, but we'll account for that in the future. But overall, yeah, I'm quite happy with it. Now on the bottom, I placed the 1 on the bottom because that's, the smallest number. Kind of do that by design. And this brim, maybe the brim's unnecessary. I think I'll keep the brim. It's just a small amount of brim. It's not too offensive, but it doesn't match the fuzzy skin. That's, yeah, I don't really know how to get around that. You know, that's kind of I didn't even really think about that. And I'm not sure, without knowing, I don't know how it handles fuzzy skin on the top if it's just going back and forth. So maybe just dial it down so it kind of blends together a little bit. Let me know what you think in the comments, how best to approach that, what fuzzy skin settings you think might work well for this. Aside from that, doing some painting this afternoon on some other character models, because I kind of just want to throw those up on the Etsy and see what kind of feedback I get. $20, $30, like dialing down the complexity, making it easy to print, slap them off, stamp them out of a press, throw them in a box and ship them out if someone wants them. And for 30, 40 bucks, it's not like, you know, the most expensive thing in the world. People maybe don't have extreme expectations for a model that price, you know, but if I was charging $200, $300 for it, then they would have those expectations and I'd really have to dial it in. So maybe that's the place that I go. Otherwise, I'm gonna kick it over to my future self tomorrow morning to see what other stuff I came up with and what came out, and I'll send it to you right now. Kind of a midway check-in. It's nearly my bedtime, but before I retire and we check in tomorrow morning, all the Cobras are tasked. We're doing another round of the atomic bomb, the big one. This time, kind of fixed up to where it's maybe a little easier to paint. Got another D20 going over here, but just with regular PLA, high temp, inside, outside, no fuzzy skin. Looks pretty good. It's stringy, no doubt. The strings I can deal with. Right, and it is the next morning, checking in on things to see where we're at, what happened, what failed, any catastrophic successes that we might have had. A1's quiet down here on the P1P. This finished up sometime in the night. So if you've been following the wall placard that I've been doing, I did a little more painting on it to try to clean it up, sharpen things up a little bit, and I think it looks pretty good. Let's see it against a white wall a little bit better. So, noticeably, right off the rip, the flushing volumes, we got to dial those up because this red is bleeding into the white of the snake. Pretty bad. Eye came out pretty good. I'm thinking maybe the shine in his eye, make that a little bit bigger. The AR is pretty good. Can maybe do a finer layer height on this, but most definitely the black background is going to be key in this to not kind of show through and help everything sort of pop and contrast. You know, this table is wood grain, so maybe against a wall it kind of gives a better sort of perception. Let's see, let's just go ahead and frame up the thumbnail here. Tongue looks pretty good, fangs pretty good. I'll probably take this in and do a little finer evaluation. Still got some I call it overspray, over paint, I guess. Jittery mouse. The red text on the black background doesn't look too bad, although I'm thinking this banner, maybe I'll do the banner in another color just to kind of, again, help it pop a little bit. But overall, I'm liking it pretty good. Just those flushing volumes. It's a pretty nice piece, and again, this is only like 200 something grams of filament. It's got this nice 3D effect. You know, I wish I could print it bigger, but the P1P, this is, you know, maxed out in terms of size for the P1P. You know, I don't want to split the model. I'd rather just, you know, kind of be able to stamp these out of a press. I'd greatly prefer it only be 4-color, but I don't know if I can really get away with it and do it like that. So, good stuff there. On the Soval, yesterday, I was kind of talking about how I'm using just regular, basic-ass PLA, hot temperature. That's it. I mean, someone tell me why I shouldn't do this. Obviously, it's stringy, but the strings just kind of go away, and it looks beautiful. Regular PLA, you know, I was kind of convinced that rapid PLA plus was the way to go, and I guess once we take it off, you know, we'll see how it finishes. But this is looking great, just for just regular PLA running a higher temp. You know, the bottom, that inside-outside perimeters, looking good, so hopefully that'll finish out fine. And over here on the Cobras, we're doing the little boy atomic device, regular PLA, slow, 60 millimeters per second, tail section. We got the lower section here. You know, the model is kind of faceted, sure, but the consistency looks great. Same over here with the middle section. And we got our little desiccant tray over here to put our little beads in. Another thing I did is I have all those desiccant beads, those silica beads, and I was like, you know, usually you put them in the oven or something like that to dry them out to recharge them. I was like, what if I put them here at the hot exhaust port of my ASIC miners, because that's like heat? Would that work? You know, it's not really pulling out the moisture, but it is going to heat them up just constantly over time, and it's not like super hot. But let's go and check on it. Blue means dry. Pink means, you know, it's kind of, it's certainly more blue than it was previously. And it's not humid outside because, again, my mining machines pull cool filtered air in from the outside and exhausts it out here. And this is, you know, keeps the hot air from recirculating. So maybe I'll just kind of leave this here a little bit longer. You know, it's not like, it's not super hot. It's just kind of blowing in there. It's kind of passive. You know, I could like spread these out a little bit, kind of get some more even heating, I suppose. But if that doesn't work by the, probably say by, I don't know, a couple hours, I'll probably just take them and put them in the oven. As far as everything else goes, what a mess over here. I did get a couple of the character models on the Etsy yesterday. I put them in at like 40 bucks. And that's kind of where I'll leave it. Hopefully I can get this D20 on today, the silver one, the hollow point, maybe these two character models, because these are kind of production ready to go. I did get the little boy atomic device on there, and I was kind of dragging my feet a little bit on putting the big one on there. Let me know what you think, because I wouldn't say I'm scared to put the big atomic device on there, but like this is the listing photo that I took for it to give people an idea how large it is. It looks like a real device. And so when I took that picture, I'm like, oh, it looks like I'm holding a bomb. So I'm a bit hesitant about putting it on there, because I could put, you know, this is plastic, it's a prop, a replica, whatever, over and over and over again, but it looks like a real device. And I don't know if, you know, that's going to cause issues, and I don't want to like risk things, but you know, again, it's, you know, maybe other people are scared of that too, and maybe there's some opportunity there for me to sell some of these. I don't know how much more clear I can make it, and I figure, you know, I enjoy my privacy and everything, but I am just under the assumption that every three-letter agency in the world is already up everybody else's ass constantly 24/7. And so if they're that deep in, if they're already watching, they should be able to tell that it's an actual plastic model. But hey, you know, I'm not trying to invite in any problems or issues. So kind of going back and forth on that. But I do want to print the new version, which I designed, where I took all the gray parts off the model. So what I did just very simply is I took the cut up pieces, did some light work on there were some hollow portions in this model, excuse me. And then like these little gray, these drag fins, these antennas, I just deleted them off, and then, you know, kind of re-rendered the model. And then these I can print separately on a smaller printer. And that way, once it all comes out, I just glue it all together, because there's going to be some post-production. But if I can limit the amount of post-production, you know, painting all these individually on that big model, that's a no-go. So if I can print the whole main body, spray it all in green, and then just take already printed in gray antennas and drag fins and just kind of put it on there. As far as the little rivets that are all around here, that's probably something I'm going to just have to take a pen and dab it on there. Will the colors match? Will the grays match? I don't know. Hope so, or at least they'll be close enough to where people won't notice. Also with the car, a lot of people commenting on that, saying it's a kind of a good avenue to explore. I agree, and hopefully I can kind of make some progress here, but it's like I need a better design before I kind of proceed, because with the length of this car, this is about as big as I can get on the Cobra 2 Max. This is, I want to say about 15 inches. So it takes up most of it. I can't really go much bigger. So it's like I can't make a shell that goes from out here to out here. It's just not possible. And so it's going to have to be something that's between these points, or a multi-part design where there's kind of like a part that I print here that extends off and maybe fastens into this front, secures down, same with the rear, and then there's like a main shell, because you have to be able to get in here to swap out the battery, that you just kind of put on and go from there. But this square structure, I don't know that it's really conducive to printing in TPU. Something that would be round would be better. Additionally, since TPU is flexible, I need something that is kind of rigid for the sides, because if it's flexible, then, you know, you'd be able to be pushed in and you'd be able to get at the wires and stuff. So it's really a lot of think work on like, how can I really do this? Or do I just stick with like a rigid structure and just make this like really, really strong, like maybe do it in PET G or even carbon fiber? And that'd be expensive, but again, if this is like something you don't want to crack and, shatter, maybe that is a good idea. And maybe just the hard structure is better because, as much as I think you could pad up this car, to prevent it from like, hitting your dog or hurting it or hurting the car if you run it into a wall or something like that. These things still go pretty fast. And again, that's why I don't recommend it for most people unless you really know what you're doing and you drive it in a way to where the dog is always chasing it and the car is not like going at the dog. And that's probably the biggest problem that I have is that my dogs will often outrun this and they'll run ahead of it to try to stop it because they think it's prey. They're trying to get in front of it to stop it. And so if they do stop it, I usually have to walk over to the car, shoo the dogs away before I can take off again because they know if they get in front of it, it won't move. Or if they grab the tires, it won't move. Because again, they're goal oriented. They're trying to stop this thing. They're trying to work. And so it's constantly me trying to get around that. So it takes a lot more thinking on there. I appreciate all the suggestions. Keep them coming on how you think I should structure this, not how I should do this. Maybe I should go and model it based off the Typhon, which is a lower center of gravity, and I believe the distance between the points is a lot shorter, and so maybe I could do it that way. Maybe I could go for a smaller scale car, but I really think 3S brushed is probably the smallest car you want to do for lure coursing of any kind, unless you got a little teacup dog and you're trying to do it inside, but that's a whole nother thing that I don't want to mess with. So lots of stuff going on today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Appreciate all the subscribers. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and follow along this journey. I'm very close to hitting 1,000 and turning on my watch ad so I can get monetized, so I can do some more creative stuff. If you guys are interested in subscriptions as well, I've considered opening that up, but I don't, again, like I've said before, I don't like sort of just taking money for free unless I'm offering something. So I'm considering turning on subscriptions if you want to subscribe to the channel for a couple dollars. And then perhaps for subscribers only, I'll give away 3D printed items. I mean, most of you people have 3D printers, so I imagine you don't want any of my defect 3D print stuff. But I'm certainly open to any ideas that you have because I really want to make it worthwhile to give it away. If I get free filament or something like that from a sponsor, then I'll just give you rolls of filament, or perhaps once a month give away a big print of some variety if you're interested in that. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Appreciate it. Appreciate the eyeballs and your subscription. Either way, be sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. I'm the Technicals. See you next time.